Hey, what's up? Welcome to another Arc Garage video. If you want to see more Alfa Romeo related content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Today we're going to be doing a radio upgrade on Alfa GT. We're going to be installing this Android multimedia, which in my opinion looks amazing, and it transforms the interior completely. Let's get started. The first thing you'll need is the Android multimedia, of course. This is the one I chose because I think it looks much better than the other ones I found online. You are also gonna need some shrinking insulation, some crimp wire connectors. You're gonna need a connector for your Android multimedia, which comes with the unit itself. You're gonna need some electrician pliers, some wire. You're gonna need maybe like meter and a half, something like that. You are also going to need some female wire connectors and a fuse holder, which is this thing right here. This part differentiates from the installation we did in the past on Alfa 147, because in that case we had a ignition, 12 volt ignition on wire. In this Alfa GT we do not have one, and we are going to borrow the 12 volt ignition wire from the fuse box itself. I'm gonna show you how to do that. You're gonna also need some mounts for your unit, and you are also going to need this fascia for Alfa GT, as well as the fascia for the multimedia itself, which I painted gray to make it look better. First thing we're gonna do is remove the radio and unplug all of the connectors. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna check for the constant 12 volt wire. Alright, we got one right here. And we got one more right here. So we basically have two constant 12 volt wires. Now we are going to check for the ignition 12 volt wire, which I'm pretty sure that the Alfa GT doesn't have one, but we're gonna check for it anyway. You don't have to bother with these upper connectors, they are for speakers. This is our constant 12 volt. This is another constant 12 volt, so we don't have it in this lower connector. We're gonna check this one as well, just to make sure that we don't have a power wire hiding anywhere. Now I'm gonna turn on the headlights and we're gonna check for the illumination wire. I'm also pretty sure that Alfa GT doesn't have one, but I'm gonna check for it as well. Alright, so we don't have the illumination wire either. Now, since we don't have the ignition 12 volt wire, we're gonna have to borrow it from the fuse box itself. As I said earlier, we're gonna use this fuse holder, this male connector, which we're gonna plug it into the fuse slot. We're gonna use the female wire connectors along with the wire, which we're gonna push behind the dash to power our Android multimedia player. Alright, here's our fuse box. The fuses we see on the left side are spare fuses. However, this fuse right here and these two fuses below it are not used in my Alfa GT. So we're gonna try to use one of them to power our Android multimedia player. I'm gonna pull out this first fuse right here, and we're gonna check for the power. Keep in mind that the ignition is off and the key is out of the ignition. I'm sorry you can't see this, but we are not getting any power without the key in the on position. Now I'm gonna turn the key on, and we're gonna check for the power again. Alright, now with the key on, we are getting the power in this first fuse right here, and we're gonna use this fuse slot to power our Android multimedia player. Now the thing right here is, when I turn the ignition off, we are still getting the power for additional 20 seconds, something like that. This means that our Android multimedia player is gonna keep on working for maybe another like 20 seconds, something like that, after we turn on the car. Alright, as you could have seen, the power went out after. So this is the fuse slot we're gonna use to power our multimedia. Alright, here's the male wire connector, which I've connected to this red wire. On the other side of the red wire is the female wire connector, which I've connected to the fuse holder, which holds this 15 amp fuse protecting our circuit. On the other side there's another female wire connector connected to this gray wire, which will be coming out of here to power our Android multimedia unit when we turn the key on. Alright, here's how our switched on power wire looks like. Make sure that everything is nice and tight and secure. Here's our fuse holder with our 50 amp fuse. I've also secured that so it doesn't move when you drive. And there's our gray wire, which goes behind the dash to power our Android multimedia unit. Now we're gonna start connecting the wires. This red and black wire is our constant 12 volt power. The black one beneath it is our ground. So we're gonna be connecting the red wire to the yellow wire on our multimedia connector. We're gonna be connecting the black wire, which is ground on our car, to the black wire on our multimedia connector, and we're gonna be connecting our gray wire, which we just added, to the red wire on our multimedia connector. We are moving on to the speakers. The first one we're gonna do is rear right. The green and yellow wire is gonna be positive wire for our rear right speaker, while green and brown is gonna be our negative. We're gonna connect it to the purple and black. Purple and black is gonna be our negative, while purple is gonna be our positive for the rear right speaker. Alright, now we're gonna move on to the right front speaker, which uses the red and black for the positive and white and black for the negative wire. On our aftermarket connector, the gray is gonna be our positive, while gray and black is gonna be our negative. Moving on to the left front speaker, which uses the pink and black for the positive wire and purple and black for the negative wire. The wires on our aftermarket connector are gonna be, for this speaker, they're gonna be white wire for the positive and white and black for the negative wire. Last speaker we got is the left rear one, which uses the orange and black for the positive and orange and white for the negative wire. Now this corresponds to the green wire for the positive and green and black for the negative wire on the aftermarket connector. There is also one more very important wire that we gotta hook up if we want our BOSE system to work flawlessly, and it's this gray wire which turns on our factory amplifier. Now the problem that I have is that my Android multimedia does not have the amplifier turn on wire, which is usually white and blue, so I'm gonna have to use the turn on ignition wire. Essentially what I've done, I've used my gray wire which comes from the fuse box to connect it to the gray wire which turns on the amplifier, and the red wire which turns on our Android head unit. That means that our amplifier and our head unit are gonna turn on when we turn on the key. I also tried using this blue antenna wire from my Android multimedia, but without any success, since I didn't get no power out of it. One more thing that I gotta take care of is this illumination wire, which I'm going to hook up to the cigarette lighter. Now we're gonna take the ashtray apart and we're gonna figure out which wire is used as the illumination wire. Alright, here's our connector to our cigarette lighter. I got this info from Justin B. He told me that he used it for the illumination wire. So the illumination wire for the cigarette lighter is this smallest one, which is orange and green, I think. Now I'm gonna splice that wire and I'm gonna connect it to the illumination wire on our Android head unit. Alright, to splice the wire, take the insulation off and connect another wire to it. Alright, I've connected this green wire, which I'm gonna connect to illumination wire. Now what we have to do is connect this green to the orange illumination on the aftermarket connector. Last three wires we have to connect are for our steering controls. The purple and pink wire is gonna be our key 1 wire, the pink and green is gonna be our key 2, and the purple and black in the middle we'll have to connect that one to our existing ground. Make sure you insulate and secure all of the other wires you are not using. Alright, now I'm gonna make some room for our new head unit. I'll cut these mounts lengthwise so they can fit inside, and now I'm gonna try everything out to make sure that everything works as it should. Only thing left to do is to put 2 screws right here on each side. One other thing we gotta do is we gotta program the steering wheel buttons. It's pretty simple. I'm gonna hit next song and I'm gonna hit the button for it on the steering wheel. As you can see right here, we got it right, and I'm just gonna keep doing this for all of the buttons. and we are done. I finished up by fitting all of the trim pieces, the fascia, the original fascia for Alfa Romeo GT, as well as the one for the multimedia player. As I said before, the gray color that I painted the original fascia for multimedia makes a whole lot of difference. It makes it look original, so I strongly suggest that you do the same. I didn't use the original interior Alfa Romeo color, but rather a generic gray spray that I get from the hardware store. The results, in my opinion, are great. This Android multimedia completely transformed the interior, and it kind of made everything look up to date. I've fitted the two USB cables in the glove box exactly as I did in the 147. These two USBs mean that you can put thousands of songs on it. The only drawback to it is the info screen on the dash doesn't show the track that we are playing. This is because we didn't fit the CANBUS adapter, which cost additional €100 or something like that. But in my opinion, it's a small trade-off. I'm pretty pleased with the result, and that's it for this video. If you liked it, hit like button and subscribe.